Jeff, thanks so much for taking some time to meet with me today and tell a little bit about yourself, but also kind of what work you're doing with Heartland Therapy and what you're looking forward to doing more of. If you want to kind of start with just introducing yourself, tell us a little bit about where you've been professionally or personally, whatever.
Surely I
Uh,
will.
that'd be great.
I'm going to tell all my personal stuff first.
Love it. Yeah. Get that out of the way.
So my name's Jeff Miner, and thanks Anna for having me on and inviting me into the Heartland family. And I'm loving it. I think it's like the best opportunity for me to serve my clients in the best way. And I love the support that you guys give, the ongoing education. And so it's been amazing for me to be at Heartland. Thank you. So a little bit about
Thanks.
me. I have been doing this for about 40 plus years. And it all starts out with I was Doc Hill thyself. I was an athlete as a child. I was a really good wrestler, like undefeated and 354 and 0 and wrestled Junior Olympics and
Sweet.
all that kind of stuff. And I should have been loving life. I should have enjoyed that ride so much, but I struggled with performance anxiety. And I would get so
Sure.
nervous before I would wrestle. I would throw up. The night before was just miserable. I'd be shaking and sweating and having panic attacks. Like in hindsight, I didn't even know I was having panic attacks then, but I was isolating, and it just made wrestling and sports in general for me no fun because I,
Yeah.
one, didn't know how to lose, and two, I was like a phenom for some reason as a little kid. I don't know why I was good. It just happened to be that I was
Yeah.
putting all that pressure in a small town, and everybody saw, oh, Jeff, every weekend he was in the paper and all that. So I kept putting pressure on me to win and pressure on me to win. And so that's kind of, I wrestled through college and I did well, but I didn't enjoy it. I wrestled D1, went to nationals, but I didn't have any fun. So
Mm-hmm.
when I graduated, or when I was deciding my career going forward, I decided I want to be the guy that I wish I would have had to talk to. So I started in sports
Cool. Yeah.
psychology and realized, no, that's not exactly what I wanted to do. They don't really go into anxiety and trauma and situations like that. So I switched to therapy and I got my internship at the Olympic Committee, working with gymnasts, mainly with eating disorders and dealing with the coach there that was a challenge and the doctors and things that were going on within the Olympic family. And then I left there and worked for some professional teams, the Utah Jazz and some golfers, and traveled around and did a lot of working with some high level athletes on the
Cool.
mental game, getting out of their own way. If they had injuries, I would do EMDR, do trauma therapy with them to help them get over the injuries. I could do things that sports psychologists couldn't because I was a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made me fairly valuable out there in the world because the sports psychologists actually loved me because I could do or help them with what they were doing and support them. But if they had trauma of any sort, they would send them to me. So
Right.
that was kind of all that. And then I came to Kansas City, and I have been working with performers of all different sorts for the past 16, well, actually 20 years. And it's been in the military to help, the warriors get
Mm-hmm.
over PTSD, first responders. It's with lawyers,
Right.
it's with doctors, it's with people that have to perform day in and day out. And there's trauma in those situations. You lose a multi-million dollar
Right.
case for your client. That's traumatic. You kill somebody in the operating room. That's traumatic. And so
Yeah, no doubt.
but these doctors and lawyers and all these, they don't really see it as trauma and don't treat it
Sure.
like it's trauma, and then they deal with the PTSD for the rest of their life. So that's
Hmm.
kind of why I got into those fields. And for some reason, and I don't know why, and I have been able to work really well with people that don't want to talk about their feelings.
Right.
And I think I'm vulnerable, and I think they see me as non-threatening for some reason. But in the great big picture, I've got athletes that don't want to talk about their personal stuff, or lawyers who don't want
Right.
to appear weak, or military, or it's like for some reason they feel the ability, or the, I don't know, to just open up and spill it when I'm around. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an ability, but it's also that you create a safe and non-judgmental space for that, right? Like you come in really authentically and not like stuffy or anything like that.
Yeah,
And you share your own story. And I think that that helps people open up for sure. You know, that you've been through some things that they can relate to. And so it's not they can be pretty certain that you're not going to
right.
judge and that that's how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. And we actually met through working with vets and first responders.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
been, I mean, maybe like 8 or some number of years. It's too
Oh,
many.
yeah, I know.
Um, so
Yes.
so we're really excited to have you on our team too. I love it. And you bring such a clinical experience and depth of expertise that I think is especially cool. Like having been all over the Olympics and working with so many different kinds of people. In your work now, working with maybe those attorneys, doctors, CEOs, business sorts that are perhaps less familiar with mental health counseling or just have never really had an opportunity to talk about feelings, how does that look for somebody who's never been there, who's starting out and knows they need something but isn't really sure what that's going to be like?
You bet. And the way I look at like therapy, it's a little different. And we have talked about this. I'm kind of the performance guy. It's like you're here when you come in, and what do you want? What do you want different? What do you want better? What do you want? And I kind of like that about me. But I do think the lawyers, a lot of people that have minimal time to give to this and are dealing with a lot of high pressure situations. It's like, get to the point,
Right.
get me there. I need to get in and out, kind of. And athletes, it's like they come and they're struggling with a knee injury, and it's like, it's not, we're working on all their things necessarily. It's, let's get you over this mental challenge of the knee injury.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
and I think confidentiality with like is kind of the key to my success. Is if you are working with a doctor, a lawyer that's struggling with any
Hmm.
kind of addiction, any kind of mental challenge, they sure don't want there to be any chance that people are going to find out
Right.
about that, and it's going to affect their reputation and be able to affect their job and their performance. So I
Sure.
think the fact that right now a lot of it is building that trust when a lawyer comes in, when a doctor comes in. It's just, let's get to know each other. There's no pressure, and I work for you. It's
Uh-huh.
not the other way around. You don't have
Right.
to do anything for me. I work for you to help you get you to where you want to be. And I think that's
What I hear in that too, yeah. And what I hear in that too is that people are probably coming in. I mean, you can tell me more, but like people are coming in with tons of shame
right.
and embarrassment and they shouldn't need this or they should know better or this is what I signed up for or kind of all of those thoughts
Yes.
that then interfere with like being able to get where you're trying to go, like you said, in performance and whatever.
And especially in the public light. It's like if you are the politician, if you are the judge that's struggling, if you are, it's like
Hmm.
really, they'd have nobody to talk to, really. And
Right.
be
Yeah.
vulnerable. And that's where I come in and I provide value is I legally can't tell anybody about you. So do
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was in grad school, they wanted us to be pretty committed to like going to jail in order to not disclose anything about our clients.
right. And
So,
I've
you know,
always had to take it to that level because it's like you're working with a professional athlete and you break that trust, you're never going to work in that field again.
right.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there's multiple levels of motivation there for
Right.
that. Um, So when somebody comes in, how often is it the case that they have like, I mean, if there's a knee injury or something like that, or something like, somebody died, that's pretty straightforward. But I imagine you also get people who are like, I just am not where I want to be, or my performance isn't what I thought it would be, or my life isn't what I thought it would be. How do you get that going
Right.
first, if they don't have something so straightforward?
I would actually like more of them because that is the I want to get better mentality. But the reality is people a lot of times come in when they feel broken or there's something wrong. And then we kind of
Things have
lead
gotten really bad.
to the healthiness. And but if they come in because they got
Mm,
caught cheating or they are got busted for drinking at work or if they are in trouble for this or a lot of times they come in for that but then they quickly realize that it's my life that is kind of off track and I just need to tweak my life and do some different things in my life. It's not just that one behavior that got me in trouble.
hmm.
I'm medicating, I'm doing this, I'm hiding it in some way. And so it's
Right.
easier and it usually happens honestly when they're coming in when there's the challenge. But in reality, if they come in when they're healthy and they want to get better and we could it's it works much better that way.
Yeah. And I also hear you in there kind of taking a really whole person perspective on that. Like it's not just like you come in for this one behavior thing or this one problem that you had, but you're looking at multiple areas of life and what are all the contributing factors.
Bingo.
Old stuff too, probably childhood stuff, high school stuff,
Everything.
any of those.
And all that
Yeah.
plays out in performance. And it's like when I say I work from here to here and we work backwards, it's you get to the traumas, you get to the all the stuff that has built them to where they are there. So it's
Yeah. Right.
just a different way of kind of looking at it. We do one at a time, maybe, but in the great big picture, they're all meshed together. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all connected, right? And those lessons that you're learning as a kid or as a boy or as a member of a community, a church, a school, wherever, a family,
yeah,
there's a lot of that messaging that comes in about how it's supposed to be. And then, like you said, that kind of realizing that it was supposed to be fun and it quit being fun. So
right,
what gives?
right. And I had
Yeah.
an experience. I'll just tell you over COVID that one of my athletes was struggling and he fell off the wagon and he wanted to go to a treatment facility, but we couldn't get him into one. So he asked me to take him up into the mountains to a cabin for a couple weeks. And wow, was that game changing. It changed his
I'm sure.
whole world. We totally dug into the root causes of his drinking. We did EMDR like nonstop. It was like 2 weeks of doing intense therapy. It was the coolest
Hmm.
thing I've ever done.
I think that you said something earlier about kind of coming in ready to go. And I think that that intensive coming in ready, knowing that there's something to do, even though it's heavy lifting as far as therapy
Right,
goes, that you do a great job of getting people ready for that and getting into that deep work in a pretty short order, I think. So people coming know that they're not necessarily signing up for like 50 minutes a week for the next 6 years,
right,
that there could be a lot of change in a short amount of time, which I think is reassuring because sometimes people think like I'm going to be laying on your couch for how long? And it's not like
right,
that, right?
right. And I think that is important to give them hope to see the changes. And then they can go on and see another change and another change and another change.
Right.
Yeah. and just getting
Yeah,
better.
absolutely.
People leave too soon. Like if people just start getting, it's kind of like medication. They start taking the medication. Well, I'm feeling better. I don't need the medication anymore. Uh,
Right. Yeah, we talk about that with antibiotics. Like it's a 10-day course for a
right.
reason, even though your symptoms go away in the first 2 or 3 days. And
Right.
so I think that that's also a good message to kind of put out there that you can get some relief, and that's awesome in the first few appointments. But the really lasting change comes 8 sessions, 10 sessions, 20
Yeah.
sessions in, and that's where you really start to change the inside stuff.
I agree totally with
Um,
that.
if you, I know that you've done some work with like corporate people, businesses, that kind of group work. This is also what we do in Warriors Ascent. So if somebody was interested in kind of supporting their team, like employees or contractors or whoever, you see some things going on and it's like probably a mental health situation or a communication or something that a mental health provider could help with. Where do you kind of fit into that for supporting a workplace or employers?
I think it's, we look at performance and we look at it what's going to make each individual or the team perform better. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, you can go in and do a quick assessment and really identify quickly what are the blocks. Is it individual blocks? Is it personal blocks? Is it communication blocks? Is it, and it's everything that we talk about. Communication, get real, be honest with each other, own your shit.
Mm-hmm.
And and I think that's what businesses are wanting more of also. How do we function as a team?
Right.
How do we function as a group to get better production and to support each other rather than to break off and, oh, these people hate these people and they don't work together. And
Right.
no, that doesn't work in business. And
I think you make a good point also that like people want to do a good job at their work. We're not talking that you
right,
have to have performance at an Olympic level,
right,
but people want to show up, do their job well, have their teammates do their job well, feel good enough. I mean, most of us have to go to work, so it'd be nice if it doesn't feel terrible. So I think that sounds good that you're saying like start with an assessment, kind of figure out where the problems are and where the growth areas are, and then you can help team leaders or whoever managers to support people on an individual level.
100%. And the number one people or reason why people leave their jobs is they don't feel like they're making a
What
difference or
is
they
it?
don't feel valuable. And so it's like
Ah, okay, yeah,
we got to help them to feel valuable, even if it's within your own team. I feel valuable because I'm supporting my teammates or who are able to do this. Or, but I think that is the
right.
big reason for that connection is you want to feel like you're making a difference. And at
Hmm.
every job, it's just how do we figure out how to do it?
Right. Yeah. No, I think I mean, that makes a ton of sense. And people are busy and distracted. And so it's easy to kind of autopilot or AI pilot it. And so being able
Right.
to really feel like you're bringing something to the table and then for management or leadership to see that as well and kind of how do they validate it so that it's not only just how do we get to the next step, but like, good job on getting us to this step.
And it's going to really be important when AI, the further AI goes, the more we're going to need the human connection when we can get it.
Right. Absolutely. That's a conversation for a different
That really
for a different
is,
time.
that's actually the moneymaker conversation right there.
Oh man, I could talk for days about AI, but not today.
It is going to affect
Um,
how people work as
Everything.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
It already
yeah.
is. So, um, and I think especially when you look at like how people feel valued in their work, if a robot can do your job, what are you bringing to the table? But again, maybe we'll just have to book another
I
time for
love that
that.
though. I think it's a great topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you kind of want to wrap up with? Thoughts about kind of working with high performers or what you want people to know when they come in to meet with you?
I think the way that the world is moving, it's like people are seeing instead of you're broke, it's I want to be better. And it's not seen in the stigma that it once was. Now, like athletes,
Hmm.
you're crazy or you're not looked highly upon if you don't have a sports mental guy in that in your
Sure.
corner.
Yeah.
So it's like business people are actually the same way. You're competing.
Hmm.
You are in the game. You're every day you got to get ready for the meetings and ready for this and all these different things that we help athletes with. Why wouldn't we deal with those issues up front with a therapist,
Sure.
even just talking about those issues and going there?
Right. Yeah. I think that that's, yeah, an excellent point that the higher level you get, especially, but for anybody doing any kind of work, sports or business or any of it, that leaning on the people who know how to help
Yeah.
is just a smart move, and yeah, not a reflection of being weak or
It's who do they talk to
inept in some way, broken.
when you're at the top echelon as far as it's like who do you talk to? And
Hmm.
they don't have people to talk to. So they don't
Right.
talk.
Yeah. And then until things like totally fall apart, and then you have to. But we can get ahead of that.
Bingo.
That's the takeaway. Is like don't wait until it's a total hot mess.
Very much so.
That instead you can get ahead of
Yes.
some things.
And it's also not being embarrassed to take that first step because you know what? You got to take that
Absolutely.
first step. And that's the hardest. Once you get in with your
Right.
therapist, it's like, oh, wow, why was I afraid of this?
Yeah.
This is silly.
Yeah.
This dude is just here helping me to figure out what's going on with me. No hidden agenda.
Yeah. Exactly. No judgment.
Right.
Lots of curiosity. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thanks so much. It's so great to have you on our team. It hasn't been so long, so that's kind of why it's still exciting. Um, and yeah, well, we'll look forward to another conversation about AI and
Yes.
all of that. But in the meantime, enjoy the spring, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Anna.
All right. Thanks.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye.